Hello. Today I officially received the report of the Special Committee on Diocesan Finances entitled A Spirit of Change, and I accept its recommendations. I receive it with great gratitude for the men and the women who have been part of this committee and have worked at it for the past 18 months. I also want to thank the parish representatives who participated in the two consultative circles that have marked the work of this team. And finally, I want to recognize the great work that was done by Msgr Daniel Dezinde as he coordinated the work of the team and assured the redaction of this report. The title of the document is important: A Spirit of Change. During the first consultative tour of the parishes, we wanted to really understand the financial situation, the true financial situation of the 55 parishes that form our diocese. One conclusion immediately became apparent: the status quo cannot continue. Our parishioners are growing older, there is difficulty in finding people to take their place, and this is translating into a slow but unyielding decrease in parish revenues. This conclusion should not, however, prompt us to abandon or to be discouraged. Sometimes people ask me how I feel just managing the diminishment of the church. My answer is I'm not here to manage the diminishment of the church, but to animate its transformation. If the status quo cannot continue, it means we must change, not to die, but to find other ways of living, better adapted to our concrete reality. And so we had a second consultative tour, which allowed us to receive the suggestions, many creative suggestions. I have to say that the parish representatives do not lack for ideas. And then a second conclusion became apparent. We're going to have to collaborate between the parishes, collaborate between the parish and the diocese if we want to move forward together. There's a saying that the Acadians have, that when the tide comes in, all the boats rise together. It's another way of saying that if we cut ourselves off from each other, if we seek our solutions in total independence from each other, we will not rise. But if we hold hands, if together we seek to take the tide, we will rise together over problems that sometimes seem insurmountable. And so the committee has proposed a 10-year action plan, which will imply changes both at the level of the parishes and of the diocese. Let's start at the level of the diocese. The committee suggests that the mandate of the Diocesan Finance Committee be reviewed, and that a number of new subcommittees be created. A first one on infrastructures and buildings, a second on human resources, a third on investments, and finally a fourth on fundraising. These four committees will allow diocesan services to better guide and accompany the parishes as they seek their own change. At the level of the parishes themselves, the suggestions have been regrouped into 5 major domains. The first is to seek new sources of revenue. The second, to reduce the level of our expenses. Third, and here we enter into a field that also touches on pastoral and ministerial issues, to review the type of services and the number of services that each parish community offers. Fourth, to review the working conditions of all our staff. And fifth, to analyze our buildings in order to ensure their long-term survival. Now, there are some parishes that continue to experience a structural deficit. In other words, year by year, their expenses go beyond their revenues. To date, they've been able to endure this by dipping into past reserves, but these reserves are quickly being depleted. rather than sliding slowly towards bankruptcy, we want to ask, as a matter of fact, we are demanding that each of these parishes give itself a plan that will allow them to attain budgetary equilibrium from here to the next 3 years, in the next 3 years. If at the end of these 3 years this balanced budget finds itself impossible, well, then we'll have to ask some serious questions. But I commit the diocesan staff to helping all parishes attain this financial equilibrium. My friends, we cannot continue as we have in the past. However, I have no intention of simply closing parishes. Between a status quo that is unproductive and closures that would be very painful, there is a third option, and it's called change. Change can scare us, it can bother us, it can make us insecure, but we must remember, where there is life, there is change. So together, let us commit ourselves to change. With the Spirit of Christ blowing in our sails, the Spirit of change, we will advance together towards a more abundant life.